A smile is for fools. And if you ask a stranger how do you do, you'd sound totally out of your mind. Surprised? Well, for me, it's normal. Not to talk is our way to survive.
Не кричат «спасибо», «пожалуйста».
A teacher could give you a 0 for smiling in class. A quarter of Russians used out houses like this. If he hits you, he loves you.
Хулиганы.
Hey guys, I'm Natasha. Welcome to the rest of Russia. Grab your coffee, get comfy, and let's dive into the real Russia, the one you'll never see on TV or in Tucker Carlson's wildest dreams. I was born and raised here, so I've got all the inside scoop. I just started learning English and I made this channel to practice chatting and to spill some strong, fresh-brewed stories about my country. So pour yourself another cup and stick around. It's gonna be a ride. Right off the bat, let's talk about the elephant in the room, my appearance. You might be thinking, wait, Natasha, why do you look Asian? I thought Russians were supposed to look Slovak. Well, fun fact, Russia is home to almost 200 nationalities, and a lot of indigenous people, especially in Siberia, have Asian roots. So yeah, I might have an Asian face, but all my ancestors are from Siberia. And trust me, that's Russia. Now, on to today's topic. Honestly, ever since I was a kid, Hollywood's version of Russian has really bugged me.
Do you know Miranda?
Never heard of the bitch.
Хулиганы.
Back then, I just thought, director are clueless. But later, when I started checking out English-speaking social media, I realized people who've actually met Russians still think we are cold, unfriendly, and kinda heartless. I couldn't figure out why, so I started asking people from different countries. And it turns out there are a few reasons people see us this way. First, Russians don't usually smile at strangers, even when meeting someone for the first time. Second, we don't rush to ask, how are you? And third, we often look tense. There's one more reason, but I'm not gonna say it out loud. In Russia, some things just can't be called by their name. And after 2022, let's just say bringing it up can get you in trouble here. For me, all three of these things are totally normal. And trust me, no Russian sees them as sign of being evil. So let's break it down point by point. First, yeah, it's true. Russians rarely smile at strangers. Imagine this. When the first McDonald's opened in Moscow, American managers had to train the cashiers to smile at customers. And people were legit shocked. I'm not even joking.
Не кричат «спасибо», «пожалуйста». Такие добрые все, улыбающиеся.
In Russia, it's generally not customary to openly display your emotions. It's considered a sign of weakness or stupidity. There's even an old saying, loud thing for no reason is for fools. We taught that from childhood, and I'm serious. In school, a teacher could give you a 0 for smiling in class. Don't believe me? Here's an actual record from a Russian school report. In our culture, we always have to keep our cool. Otherwise, people assume something's wrong with us. So when you see a stranger smiling at you, you just smile back. It means nothing. But for us, Russians, that smile instantly makes us suspicious because in Russia, a stranger's smile is reserved for only three scenarios. First, he's lost control. For example, he's clearly not sober or maybe dealing with some personal instability. Second, he's trying to show vulnerability before asking for something like, hey, sis, get any spare change. Third, he's pretending to be friendly just to scam you, manipulate you, or pull you into some very questionable business. Actually, there's a fourth case, but that only applies to attractive women. In that situation, a stranger might smile at you because he wants to get to know you. That's actually how I met my husband. Although, who knows, maybe he had ulterior motives. So, in every case, except the fourth, a smile sets off alarm bells for Russians. Of course, we can smile, we just reserve it for those we truly know or want to befriend. See, I'm smiling right now at you. I want to be your friend, so subscribe to my channel. Okay, you might say. Now it makes sense why Russians don't smile at just anyone. But Natasha, is it really that hard to say how do you do to say a cashier at supermarket? No, it's not hard if we personally know the cashier and we are genuinely interested in her life. In all other cases, we'd never ask a stranger that question. The fact is, we are very straightforward. In Russia, small talk is almost non-existent, and there's a very simple reason for that: our damn climate. Most parts of the country, winters are brutally cold, and although summer can be hot, it's very short. And Russia has been an agrarian society for centuries. Imagine, you only have 3 months a year to grow wheat and vegetables, stock up firewood for winter, fix your roof, help all your cows give birth, and fatten the pigs. Do you think you'd have time for chit chat? No, at all. This style of behavior was passed down from generation to generation. And what about winter? It's even worse. Think about it. If you're walking down the street in minus 40 degrees, would you stop to exchange pleasantries with a stranger? I don't think so. I grew up in Siberia and I know for sure when it's freezing, it's better not to open your mouth at all. Ever had frozen teeth? I have. So, yes, we only talk to people when we truly want to hear the answer. Not to talk is our way to survive. So we've reached my favorite point. Foreigners think Russians look tense. And here you might be surprised. Russians don't look tense, we are tense. Living in a state of anxiety, being alert 24 by 7, that's literally in our genes. Quick disclaimer. What follows is heavy story. It's not an easy ride, but without this context, you'll never truly understand the mysterious Russian soul. Let's start with the fact that almost all modern Russians are descendants of peasants. The members of other classes like nobility or merchants were either forced out or physically whipped out during the 1970 revolution. Plus, Russia had served them for centuries. That means peasants were basically slaves to the aristocracy. And when I say that living in stress is in our genes, I mean that peasants were always on edge. You could be sold off from your family at any moment, executed, or not allowed to marry whoever you wanted without your master's permissions. It's hard to admit, but almost everything that happens in Uncle Tom's Cabin occurred to the ancestors of most Russians over the centuries. Even after peasants were finally freed, things didn't really improve. And after some time, the communists came to power and things became really hard. For example, they took everything from my great great grandfather. He was a prosperous peasant who worked hard, he had his own farm, and even employed people for money. And that was enough for communists to confiscate his farm and turn it into a collective farm that eventually collapsed. Honestly, you could talk about Soviet repressions for ages, but I'm short on time. If you're interested, check out the episode on the Gulag by Russian journalist Yuri Dud. I leave the link in the description. Living in a constant stress is, as you see, in our genes, and our reality leaves us with no chance to relax. For instance, I vividly remember the 19th. It was a terrible time, and I still can't understand how my parents managed not to go crazy. Salaries weren't paid for years. Often, instead of money, people resolved goods. Like one time, a friend's parents were given a jar of honey instead of their paycheck. No, it wasn't Winnie the Pooh's family, but they literally survived on that for a month. What about safety? Crime in 19th was just insane. Oh my god, there was a horrible case in my city when I was a child. If you're brave enough, Google space safety, but don't blame me if you lose sleep. And if you want to really get a feel for the 19th in Russia, check out the series Outsourced by Dushan Gligarov. It's probably available with English subtitles, but I'm not sure. And And the last reason why Russians are perpetually tense is that unfortunately violence has become normalized in our society. It's terrible, but even today, in many homes, physical punishment is still considered normal. And sadly, there's still not enough legal protection for women and children in such situation. For example, if woman calls the police to say her husband drunk, beats her, the police probably won't even show up. What's even worse is that many women come to see the beatings as normal. There's even a saying, if he hits you, he loves you. Some Russians can't even afford a decent bathroom. According to WHO data from just 10 years ago in 2015, over a quarter of Russians used out houses like this. The situation has improved since, but it's still hard to be kind when you're shivering in a wooden outhouse in minus 40 degrees. Believe me, I know what I'm talking about. I used one until I was 18. Someone might say, "Oh no, I've been to Moscow, it's beautiful." In reply, I'll show you this Reddit comment. It sums up the reality perfectly. There's even a saying Moscow is not Russia. So if you only been to Moscow, you haven't seen real Russia. Another explanation for Russian aggressiveness is a kind of arrogance toward other countries and a lack of information. We're taught from childhood that Russia is the greatest nation and that everyone else envies us. Add to that the so-called Great Mission of Russia. In our media, they drill into our heads that Russia has a mission to uphold justice, spirituality, and tradition values across the globe, whatever that really means. So most Russians genuinely believe that our civilization exists solely because of Russia, and some even truly think that everyone else wants to destroy us. Moreover, almost 70% of my compatriots have never been abroad and often know nothing about other culture and countries. But I know many people who instantly change their minds about the outside world. This happened when they first started traveling. That's why there mustn't be an iron curtain in Russia. By the way, tell me in the comments, does your country have a great mission too, or your people don't travel but remain kind? Now, I'm not going to justify anyone. Yes, we don't smile. Yes, we are often tense. And of course, there are people who act with cruelty or bitterness, but also so many kind souls. After everything I've shared, just imagine how good they can be. I mean, it's so easy to be kind if you always lived in comfort and a tolerant society. It's easy to be gentle when you're surrounded by polite, smiling people. It's easy to be friendly when you know the law is on your side. Now imagine how great those people are who've gone through all this mess and still managed to keep their humanity and kindness. I know such people and I'm damn proud of them. I hope that after my story you have a better understanding of the mysterious Russian soul. What do you think about it? Please leave a comment. Tell me what else you'd like to learn about Russia. Your feedback is really important to me. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. I just launched the channel and really need subscribers. Alright, I finished my coffee and I've got to run. Bye bye. See you soon.